The Fantastic Four: The First Steps was a movie that dropped almost 2 months ago, depending on when you're watching this video. So you may be asking, why the hell are you doing this video so late? Well, better late than never. I can confidently say that this movie was definitely my favorite 2025 movie. And it's so good that I normally don't do this on the main channel. I'm gonna do a whole merch overview recap of everything we got from this movie. Now, I kind of did something like that with Deadpool and Wolverine last year, but then it was just the podcast episode and then it was just edited down. This time, I'm actually putting in the effort and doing a fully main channel dedicated video for the merch. But, of course, we did do 2 episodes on the podcast channel on the merch because obviously the first time we just got half of the merch, the Funko Pops, Galactus bucket, and of course that was the movie review itself. And then just recently we put out the second episode, which is the follow-up episode where we review the other popcorn buckets and some of the other merch that we got. However, there is some stuff that I'm showing in this video that wasn't even in the podcast episode. So consider this as a summary because I'm not going into full details on each and every merch thing here. If you want the full review, watch those 2 podcast episodes and then you will see a much more slowed, detailed breakdown of all the merch stuff there. Without further ado, let's begin, starting with me. As you can see, I'm wearing a Fantastic Four shirt, which you can pick up from Hot Topic. I know Hot Topic sells the full suit as a sweater, but I personally don't want to wear that kind of stuff. I'm definitely more of a t-shirt person, so that's why I ended up just getting this shirt. But I came fully dressed for the occasion because I got the pants. Oh yeah, right there. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. I got the full Fantastic Four pants. Very nice. And I can tell you, Hot Topic definitely cooked with these pants because these genuinely feel really comfortable. This is PJ material. I can definitely sleep in this. So that's the first bits of merch, the clothing that I'm wearing. Now onto the actual merch. Obviously, there's the big popcorn buckets, but I want to start off nice and small first by first looking at the Funko Pops. So obviously I made full-on videos of these Funko Pops, so I'm not going to spend too much time into full details of it, so please check out those Funko Pop videos if you really want to look into these in full details. But we got some comments here. We got Johnny, we got The Thing, and then we got Mr. Fantastic himself. Then we got Vanessa Kirby's Sue Storm with little baby Franklin, very cute. And then we got Silver Surfer, or Shallow Bell. I think that's how you say her name, but I'm just gonna call her Silver Surfer for the sake of it. And then we got Big Boy Galactus here, which apparently is a 6-inch pop and not a 10-inch pop. That's still a mystery to me. Why is it not a 10-inch pop? But oh well. And then we have a little Pedro Pascal Pocket Pop, or Mr. Fantastic Pocket Pop. If you don't know what Pocket Pops are, these are essentially keychains. A mini Funko Pop as a keychain. And then we have some interesting exclusives here. So Funko decided to make full pops for the Fantastic Four in the spacesuits, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to it. I just wasn't expecting it. But they look great regardless. We got Reed Richards, we got Johnny, we got Sue, and my personal favorite, The Thing. And then speaking of The Thing, here's The Thing. We got another exclusive of The Thing in the trench coat. Iconic outfit. Definitely not the first time that he's worn this. If you have the Marvel Rival skin, then you would know. I mean, he also wears this in the comics. But yes, I picked up 2. So this is what he looks like in box. And then here's what he looks like out of box. And then finally, my favorite one of all and the latest addition to the collection is HERBIE. He's special because he is a SDCC 2025 exclusive. Now this one is the more common sticker. I don't have the actual convention sticker one. That one is way hard to get, way more expensive. But regardless, I don't care about the sticker. I'm here for the pop. HERBIE, absolute GOAT of the movie. All right, finally, the last Funko item here is the Fantastic Four Itty Bitty Pop Pack from same thing as the HERBIE, the SDCC line. So obviously the box is already open because we reviewed this on the podcast already, so I'll keep this nice and brief. Here's the box. No special mystery pop here, no chases. You get what you get, which I absolutely appreciate. I don't have to buy multiple of this. And then here's the back of the box. And then the actual itty bitty pops themselves, they come in this beautiful display case, so you can actually display them, put them up on a shelf. And recently, Funko has been putting out new shelves, custom shelves, like a Spider-Man shelf, Toy Story shelf, where we can put your itty bitty pops on there. Okay, next up, I'm going to show you something that we did not look at in the podcast episodes because I literally just picked this up like 2 days ago. Super recent. And that is also from Funko. And I normally don't get Loungeflies, but this is my first one. I made an exception for this one. This is the HERBIE Loungefly backpack from Funko. How much was it? It's around like $110, so it's a little bit pricey, but it's a pretty cool backpack, don't get me wrong. So, and I really like HERBIE, you can probably tell. Here's the tag of the movie. Open this up, it's just mainly just like manufacturing info and all that. Nothing too interesting, but the question is, can I just untie this? Do I need scissors? Can I not cut the string? Oh, yes we can. Okay, no scissors required. You love to see it. The whole string this literally looks like floss. But this came off in one clean sweep. I guess next up we gotta get rid of these straps that are holding the main strap down. So there we are. Boom. Okay, so you could use this as a full backpack. I won't, but it's nice to know that the straps are long enough for, I guess, a child to probably wear. So that's pretty nice. The front pocket here has some bubble wrap, my absolute favorite. Ooh, there's some pretty nice like HERBIE printings inside. I'll show you in a second, but you can see we have the main HERBIE flap up here. So that's the main look, and then you have the Fantastic Four logo here, the Marvel Studios logo and Loungefly on it, so that's pretty nice. And on this side it says HERBIE, so is this side. So this is like the water bottle pockets, though they are very tight for water bottle. Unless you have like a super thin water bottle, this is probably not going to be able to fit one. Okay, the main pocket itself has a lot of bubble wrap. What the blazes? How much bubble wrap does one backpack need? Yeah, there's nothing inside. It's just the HERBIE printings. But inside, there's the main pocket in here, and then there's like an inner pocket, a little flap here. So I guess this is probably made for a child. Let's be honest. Let's see, like you're dropping off your kid at kindergarten or preschool. This is probably a pretty cute backpack for them to wear. They can probably put their notes, their little lunch, water bottle, probably inside the bag, not up here because this is not that good. So you probably put the water bottle inside, and then your notebook, your pencils. Yeah, this literally feels like a backpack made for kids and not for a collector like me. And then just to really show you the HERBIE printing inside, can the camera pick it up? Hopefully, but you can see it's mainly just HERBIE inside, so that's pretty cool. It's a pretty straightforward backpack. Is it worth $110? Absolutely not. This is a ridiculously expensive price backpack. If you actually use it, you should probably give it to a kid, but if not, this is definitely a collector's item. You should probably leave this in a shelf or on display. I don't know. How do you display backpacks? I have never collected backpacks before, so anyone who does, let me know in the comments. Okay, so that's all Funko products for Fantastic Four complete. Now, let's move on to the other merch. Starting off with this bucket, but hold on, we're not gonna actually review this bucket yet. We're gonna actually review the keychains first. If you collect those keychain blind bags, I forgot the name of the exact company, sorry, but they do this for almost every movie. I've always been collecting them for like years now, and if you watch the podcast episode, you will know how I managed to pull the entire set in one sitting. And I didn't even need to make a second purchase, but we have all the keychains here, and they all come in blind bags. There's 2 mystery ones, but they're not really that rare. You can literally tell what they are. So obviously, If you want to check out the unboxing experience we had, go watch the podcast episode. We have a total of 11 keychains here, so I'll just keep it brief and concise. So let's get going. So first we got the main Fantastic Four itself. So we got Mr. Reed Richards here, Mr. Pedro Pascal, Sue Storm here, Inviswoman, Johnny here, only in Inferno form. They have not made one of him in human form. And then here's the thing. This is the one dupe that I pulled. And then we got my personal favorite. You can really tell who's my favorite character out of this movie. We got HERBIE here, looking like an absolute Chad. And then we got the Fantastic Four in their spacesuits, so I'll quickly go over them as well. So we got Mr. Fantastic, spacesuit, Sue Storm, spacesuit, Johnny, spacesuit, but actually in human form this time. And of course, the Thing in his spacesuit. And lastly, but definitely not the least, the two mystery keychains, which obviously we all know who they are. They are the two villains of this movie. So first we got Shallow Bell here, Silver Surfer. And lastly, but definitely not the least, we got Big Boy Galactus. So those are the 11 possible pulls you can get from those blind bag. And yes, they are keychains, but I treat them as collectibles. All right, one more thing before we actually look at the theater merch. We got the Lego. So Lego only put out one set for this movie. I'm hoping they'll do more. I'm very hoping that they'll do a fantastic car. This is the only set as of now, as of this video, which is of course the Fantastic Four battling Galactus. And this is literally called Fantastic Four versus Galactus construction figure. Very long name. It is set 76316 with 427 pieces. Now, did we do a full review on this? Yes, we did. On the new second podcast episode of the Fantastic Four merch, we actually built this on camera and reviewed it at the end. So go check out that video for the full review. But this one, of course, we'll keep it brief and concise. So here's the box. Here's the back of the box. Well, I paid $60 for it, but normal price is like $80, and this is Canadian prices. So with the box out of the way, now we have the actual set fully built up, and I just knocked over Mr. Fantastic. And the minifigures included in this set are, of course, the Fantastic Four, and this is all you get. No side builds, no nothing. You mainly are just paying for a set that consists of 5 characters. No additional side, but technically this is a figure itself. First minifigure, we got Inviswoman, Mr. Fantastic, which I can't lie, I'm a little disappointed that his only extensions is like long legs. And then, this is a cool feature. Johnny, yes, is included, but I have him attached to Galactus. This is an official part of the build. A transparent rod here to hold him up to make it look like Johnny is flying around Galactus. And then in Galactus's hand, we have him holding the Thing. My least favorite minifig for sure, because he should have been a big fig mold, not a regular one. He looks so skinny here and so out of place. He doesn't look like the Thing in my opinion. If you're old enough to remember Bionicle or Lego Hero Factory, this is basically what this Galactus is. Much smaller, it's more brick based of course, not so much of the Bionicle pieces, but it does use a lot of the ball socket limbs that Bionicle is known for. Or I guess Hero Factory used it, and then Bionicle in its very short reboot picked it back up. What does that mean? It means that there's good articulation. So we have leg articulation on a ratchet joint, a ball socket articulation on the knees, and a ball socket articulation on the feet. Very nice. Then we have waist articulation. He has full 360 articulation here. That's very nice. Then we have articulation on the ball socket on his shoulders, and then just a simple like lever like pulley on his elbows, and then a small ball socket articulation on his hands. And of course the fingers can move as well, and it has a stud there so you can actually put a minifigure in there in place without falling off. And then finally we have head articulation on a ball socket as well. Lots of range. Look at that. You can strike him in a lot of poses. That's very nice. So overall, this is a pretty solid set, but yeah, $60 is quite a lot of money for what you get out of here. I wish there was like a little Fantastic Car side build or something. It feels like I'm getting not enough out of the set, especially what the money I paid for this set. But so far, this is the only Lego set that has been made for this movie, so I guess we'll see if Lego will do more. Okay, now it's time for the theater merch. Let's kick off with looking at the cup and the toppers, and then we'll of course look at the popcorn buckets themselves. So of course, you can find this, or you could have found this cup at Cineplex, our movie theater chain in Canada. So here's the cup itself. You got the last names of the Fantastic Four on there. Very nice. And then you have a print of the Fantastic Four on it. Very nice. Hopefully the glare isn't disrupting the view. It's a very simple, straightforward plastic cup. And of course, the lids are designed for you to clip a topper on top. And yes, I got the whole set. First up, we got Sue Storm here, Invisible Woman. The designs of these toppers are more chibi-like, whereas some of the previous Marvel toppers you may be familiar with, they're more actually sculpted to look like action figures. These are more chibi-like. That's why big heads, smaller bodies, I'm all for it. As a person who collects Funko Pops, I approve of this design. Another transparent one, her younger brother, Johnny Storm. Then we got The Thing. Very nice. Now, I try to fit all of them into one cup, but they were too big. So here's cup number 2. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic himself. Now, unfortunately, there is no Silver Surfer topper, which I was kind of bummed out. It would have been nice if we gave her character a bit of respect and gave her a topper as well. But they do have one for Galactus, and here is said topper. Look at that. Again, with this chibi design, it looks great when you do a big head, small body like design for the sculpt. So it's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. So these are the toppers, which of course you would normally stick it on top of a cup like this. That's what it looked like. Stick a straw in. Happy days. So those are the toppers. All right, it's finally time to look at the popcorn buckets. So let's start off with this one from Cineplex. This one is the Puzzle Fantastic Four buckets. So I actually didn't know this until I saw on TikTok that you can actually unscrew each individual element and have their own little like pot. I guess the bottom bit here works as a dog bowl. I did see that video, so that's interesting. I'm not gonna do that in this video. I just want to keep the bucket intact as it is, but just so you know, you can unscrew it to make individual parts. But obviously the idea of this bucket is to have the 4 elements. So we got Reed, Ben, Johnny, and Sue at the top. Normally, I'm not one to care about your actual bucket, like a bucket that actually looks like just a plain bucket, but they definitely got creative with this design. It looks sick. I actually like it. I normally find just normal shaped buckets to be boring, but this was definitely interesting and definitely worth it, to the point where I bought 2. Yes, I have 2, but obviously I don't need to show the other one. So apart from the Galactus bucket, that was all the popcorn buckets Cineplex got. The Galactus and that Puzzle popcorn bucket. So the other popcorn buckets I got were from eBay, but obviously if you live in the States, these come from AMC, Regal, and Cinemark. Obviously, as a Canadian, I had to resort to third-party sellers to sell me these things. First one here, which I believe is AMC. I originally didn't even want to get this, but ultimately I caved in and got it, so I'm very easily persuaded. This is Mr. Fantastic wrapping his arm around the popcorn bucket, which is a very straightforward design, which looks fantastic. So the idea is he's just extending his arm and have it fully coiled around the bucket, and his hand is actually up here gripping the bucket. So there's actually security on this thing, which is nice because this feels heavy. I don't know how the cast reacted to this on Jimmy Kimmel, but I believe Pedro was definitely appalled by it. He was like, what? But it's really cool because you have basically an additional Mr. Fantastic figure. This thing got wrapped on its own. So my only concern about this is that, you know, this can probably snap. So it's probably best that you hold the bucket itself and not hold the figure. So if the weight is all relied on the figure, there is a very good chance the arm might cave in and snap. Next up, I really like this one for sure. This is the Fantastic Car popcorn buckets from, I believe it's Regal that sold this. So they did one for Thunderbolts that was available at AMC, which was the limo. That one was actually full metal. This one is back to simple plastic, which is not bad because it feels really big. If you look at this on first glance, you probably won't think of this as a bucket. You'd probably see this more as like a model or a collector's piece, which, don't get me wrong, looks great on like a desk or on a shelf, but you probably won't know this is a popcorn bucket unless obviously you know the context of this or you open it up. So that's how you would know, wait a minute, this thing can open up? Then that's how you can put in your popcorn. Or in this case, I have bubble wrap in mind. Don't mind it. But overall, it is a very solid design for a popcorn bucket. I love it. It looks great. It feels very high quality. I would just wish I paid retail price for it, but that's besides the point. Overall, this car is definitely fantastic.
Say that again.
All right, we're almost done. We're down to the last 2 items. You would think I'm gonna show the Galactus bucket last, but I'm actually not. I'm actually gonna show it right now. So of course, this was the big, literally big popcorn bucket of 2025. This was the one that set a new Guinness World Record and has an LED feature which the eyes light up, which is very nice. Obviously, we showed this off in full detail in the podcast episode. But as you can see, it is bigger than my head. And you can definitely put in a lot of popcorn, that's for sure. I remember when I went to the theater to watch the movie itself, someone sitting behind us brought his bucket. He brought this to the theater and literally watched the movie and ate popcorn out of this. So man of culture, I gotta respect him. Shout out if you see this video somehow. But of course, because this was the most popular one, this would be quite high up on the list. This was of course making headlines. This one was making trends. This has all the attention. And don't get me wrong, it's a solid bucket. I had to go to the theater at the crack of dawn to get it. And the resales on this thing has definitely been going crazy. But overall, in comparison to the final bucket that I'm about to show, this one is not as interesting. But it's a very, very good bucket. Regardless, I do like the eyes lighting up. It's a simple feature. So that is the almighty Galactus popcorn bucket. All right, last but definitely not the least, the Galactus bucket has also made headlines for the wrong reasons as well. Its price, it was $80 in both US and Canada. Technically speaking, it was cheaper if you bought it in Canada. Yes, it is expensive, don't get me wrong, but that price tag is the exact same price tag as the HERBIE popcorn bucket. This bad boy, which is out of frame. I'm gonna have to move the camera back.
12 seconds later.
Well, I've moved it further back. It's still very tall. That's how you know this thing is big. This HERBIE bucket is bigger than the Galactus. Don't believe me? Et voila. And I want to confidently say that this is probably my favorite popcorn bucket of 2025. It ain't the Galactus. It's the HERBIE. And I'll show you why. It is a 3-in-1 popcorn bucket. And it has 2 electronic features. I'm sorry, you can't beat that. Yes, it is also very expensive. This is the same price, also $80, same as the Galactus. But unlike the Galactus, you get a lot more out of this. You get a bigger bang for your buck out of this for sure. So first, we have articulation. Since when did a popcorn bucket have articulation? That is amazing. Full articulation on the arm, the elbow, and the fingers. This is a popcorn bucket. Same thing on this side. This one's more stiff for some reason, but maybe it's just the joints on the bucket. I'm not sure. And of course, you can also unscrew the head because of the electronics. If you want to wash this, you don't want to fry the electronics, so the head is removable for cleaning purposes, but I'm not going to demonstrate it here. But of course, I did mention this is a 3-in-1 popcorn bucket, so the other features are not limited to. The main compartment where you store the actual popcorn is at the back. Through this tab here, this is where you chuck the popcorn in. Now, washing this will be a nightmare, so I wouldn't recommend you to do it. But then again, there are like insane people in this world who would actually eat popcorn out of these things. So that's where you would put it. But for the most of us who are normal, regular thinking people, we probably won't do that. This would probably be like a storage unit. But that's not all. Obviously, we have the chest compartment at the front here. This is where you would put your candy and whatever else you might want to put in there. Maybe some marbles, maybe some stones. It is separate. There is a barrier in between so it won't get mixed up with the main popcorn compartment, which is the overall main body. So that's very clever designing. And then finally, we have the drink section, which is on the head, hence why you see this straw. Very tiny, short, but like very solid plastic straw. But the idea is you unscrew the forehead here. This opens up, and then inside you have access to pour in your Coke, your Sprite, or whatever. I would highly discourage it because, again, washing this is gonna be a nightmare. It's gonna smell really bad afterwards. And keep in mind, this is where the electronics are. But at least they make it so pouring the drink in will actually not be that difficult. So there you go. All you gotta do is screw the forehead back on. Now, you can choose to display the thing with the straw or without the straw. I mean, if you put the straw on here, it literally looks like he's just got like a mohawk. Now, that is, of course, not all the main features. This is just the functionality of how you can actually put your drink, candy, and popcorn in it. Now for the fun stuff. The cool electronic features. There's obviously 2. And those 2 are going to be the main reasons why this popcorn bucket is my favorite popcorn bucket of all time in 2025. First one, we have the projector, which shoots the Fantastic Four logo. Let me just point it at the back here. I don't know how well the camera can pick it up. I did film a little clip with my pocket camera on the podcast episode, so if you can't see it here, editor, please put up that clip. That's what it looks like in the dark. But the fact that it's such a detailed projection, that comes out of the projector of a popcorn bucket. You gotta remember, this is a popcorn bucket. And this feels like I'm holding like Hiya Toys or a SH Monster Arts figure for some reason. So that's feature number 1. And then secondly, it plays the Fantastic Four theme song itself. That already has me sold. Since when did a popcorn bucket play you the theme song of the movie? There is yet to be another movie that does that. And I sure hope there will be a movie that would do that too. This is gonna instantly demonetize the video, but that's okay. The fact that this comes out of a popcorn bucket. Oh man. Definitely my favorite bucket of 2025. Alright people, for this last part of the video, Fortnite had put out stuff for Fantastic Four. Me being me, I had to buy them all. But before I was going to buy them, I had to take a look at them first. By the way, this was the day these skins released in the Fortnite item shop. I'm looking through them. They look fantastic, pun not intended. But the skins really had me sold. I thought Epic actually cooked with the skins here, because sometimes some of the Marvel skins that they tend to release, even though it's not meant to be MCU related, I wasn't really a big fan of the design. So for example, the Deadpool and Wolverine skins that came out last year, clearly it was made intended for the movie, but because they already had a Wolverine and a Deadpool skin prior, they had to just put out these weird looking comic versions of the characters, and I was kind of hoping we would get a Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman style of Deadpool and Wolverine, but we didn't. Luckily for the Fantastic Four's case here, we got the characters that actually look like the MCU actors. It's not one-for-one replica, but you gotta understand this is with the game graphics. And so it actually looks pretty decent. And the thing is very detailed. They really nailed his Rocky build nice, but they don't actually increase his actual size because, let's be honest, the hitbox would be bigger. So they actually balance it quite well. And obviously it's not just the skins. You also got the pickaxes, you also got the gliders, and some of them have their own emotes. For example, Johnny has his flame on emotes, which is pretty snazzy, and different styles too. The thing, you can choose to have his suit on or you can have him shirtless and you can see his Rocky build. Honestly, Epic Games really cooked with the skins here. I'm quite satisfied with what I'm looking at here, and so these are the Fortnite skins. And there we go. That is almost all of the merch created for the Fantastic Four First Steps. Very, fantastic movie. I absolutely loved it. I know some people will disagree, but it's definitely my favorite movie of this year. And I hope I gave these merch enough justice. I know 3C Films will do it a lot better than me, and also the fact that I'm doing this 2 months after the movie's release. The merch here is definitely goated. They definitely cooked with the merch. I'm very happy with all of them. I can't remember a movie like this since Deadpool and Wolverine, where the merch was goated as well for that movie, but they definitely balanced it out for sure for this movie as well. This movie has really good merch, as you can evidently see. To the point where I even got the pants. Since when have I ever gotten pants for the movie? Hopefully this will give you a refresher if you're still somehow considering to get some of the merch for this movie after its release, which has been a while. I'm signing off. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a fantastic day.